Hello and welcome. I am Oles Gerjuk and you're watching Head to Head with UATV. In the context of the Russian aggression against Ukraine, effective communication with the key partner countries has become increasingly important. This is taken into account not only dialogue with the US and European Union states, but with Asia, the Middle East and Africa as well. So how should the Ukrainian strategies for around the world sound like? To get an answer on this, we welcome to the studio Tengiz Pkhaladze, former advisor to the president of Georgia from 2014 until 2018. Hello and thank you for being with us today.
Hello, thank you for the invitation.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So let's start. Ukraine and Georgia have similar priorities in foreign policy and are experiencing similar threats even from the same country. Do you agree with that? So in 2008, Russia occupied large territories of Georgia, South Ossetia and Abkhazia. And Georgia has been going through this territorial crisis more than a decade. So what could Ukraine learn from Georgia's experience in that?
You're absolutely right. We have common threats and common goals when it comes to our aspiration towards EU and NATO, and threats when it comes to our territorial integrity. Let me a little bit correct you. The occupation of Georgia, it happened not in 2008. It happens in very beginning of 90s, since Georgia declared its independence. 2008 was exactly the time when Russian militaries officially marched on the Georgian territory. So they didn't shy to organize this military aggression. But when we are talking about our future, of course, we have to join our efforts because we are in the same boat when it comes to our development of our countries, and when it comes to the policy which will force Russia to respect territorial integrity of Ukraine and territorial integrity and sovereignty of Georgia. And this is not a easy business, and it's need very active cooperation and communication, definitely, of course, with our strategic partners like EU or EU countries or NATO member states and so on, but also with the entire world, because it's very important to not only maintain but strengthen non-recognition policy, non-recognition of occupied territory or non-recognition of annexation of Crimea, and so on. And in this regard, it's very important to have and increase ties with countries in other parts of the world, which will help us to send the unified message to Moscow that such kind of treatment of independent country is unacceptable. And if somebody will going to deal in contemporary world in this way, the political price will be too high. The second thing is that our partners, they are interested in development of our countries. It means that they support us in our reforms and in our development, but also they are interested to see Georgia and Ukraine as a country which provides new solutions, new opportunities for the European business, for the European countries. And in this regard, I think we have a unique opportunity to serve like the bridge between the EU markets, as we both enjoy free trade with EU, and other countries. We try to establish more close cooperation with the European countries. In this regard, for instance, Georgia tried to develop cooperation and serve as a bridge between East and West, serve as a hub for regional business, and so on. I think that if we unite our efforts, in this regard, we will have more success.
Well, this is very nice. And I do agree that joining our efforts, especially in diplomacy, would really help to deliver this powerful message condemning this Russian threat, because it grows not only to the neighboring countries but already to interferes in the elections of other countries. And I think that we cannot forget about Moldova and their Transnistrian region. We also could all three unite all together and deliver this powerful message, because we do see that now the recent resolutions, they are mostly about Ukraine, about the Azov Sea crisis, about Ukrainian sailors. Yes, this is very important for us, but if it's not enough, if this message is not enough for the world to hear us, maybe we should unite the efforts that it's not only Ukraine who is experiencing this threat.
Indeed.
And
we
shouldn't
have to
forget.
explain that this is not about the particular case, and case-to-case approach is not the solution. So we are not talking about some kind of accident. We are talking about
continuing policy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very well-crafted strategy toward the neighboring countries, which Russia calls so-called near neighborhood and zones of privilege interest. So treat in this way independent countries. It's absolutely unacceptable in contemporary world.
Thank you. Well, still, I would like to use this chance that I have you in the studio to compare a little bit the approaches that Ukraine and Georgia have tackling this issue of aggression with Russia. So Georgia immediately canceled all the diplomatic relations with the aggressor state. Ukraine didn't. What is your take on that?
Yes, actually, I would say that it was not our choice. It was the situation. It was the deadlock how Russia led this entire process, and the end of this process was deadlock, because as soon as Russia recognized Abkhazia and South Ossetia as independent countries, so agreed and maintained diplomatic relations and say that business as usual, it means that Georgia recognized those occupied territories as independent countries. Yeah, this is the main problem. I mean, when we are talking about the future of relationship with Russia, the main problem is that we see reality as it is, and when we are talking about Ukraine or Georgia or our territorial integrity, we are talking about the countries in internationally recognized border, but Russia sees absolutely different reality. On the territory of Georgia, they think that there are 3 independent countries. Then they are talking about Ukraine. They think that Ukraine is without Crimea, and so on. So until we have such kind of disagreements, it's too hard to think about some kind of easy solutions. So that's why when it comes to diplomatic relations are beneficial when countries respect each other. So.
Well, I do agree with that, but Ukraine's approach was a little bit different, because I do know that lots of Georgians are also living in Russia, but lots of Ukrainians, lots of families are kind of connected. So it was really a controversial topic, and it still stays as a controversial because some people are rooting for the abolition of this diplomatic relations, some are not, some are saying that we need to keep them, but it was just interesting for me to know your opinion.
You know, such kind of decision, I mean, to cut diplomatic ties, of course it needs very serious preparation, because it's not only about the statement. Of course, the country should care about the people who are living on the different territory. It's about economic relations, the number of international agreements, and so it needs preparation. It's not an easy decision.
Well, speaking of Ukraine, we had lots of things going on throughout the whole past year with the ongoing war. Not only from the past year, yes, with our political prisoners being held in Russia, with the 24 captured sailors who are being recognized by Ukraine as prisoners of war, and they are being recognized and pays to be treated under Geneva Convention also. So we had this multiple business and security forums, discussions with China, Israel, and Turkey about free trade area. How would you assess the work of Ukrainian diplomacy in those issues? Was it productive enough? in the conditions of ongoing war?
During the last 4 or 5 years, I had the opportunity to meet Ukrainian diplomats and high representatives on the different international formats, different forums, and so on. I would say that they are very active. They are very active. By the way, very active are officials as well as think tanks and society, NGO sector. I mean, quite often the same question I heard about the Georgian diplomacy, that is enough or not. One point is that we are active, but until we don't reach our final goal, restoration of our territorial integrity, we can't be satisfied. So we have to do more, definitely, to make our goal and our dream real. So to achieve our goal, it's not only about the restoration of territorial integrity. It's about to create and build up the really well-developed European country and achieve our final goal to give more benefit, more success to our people and our population.
Well, thank you for this answer. We do know that there is a lot of dialogue between Ukraine and the European Union member states, with the United States, with Canada, but what about the current state of affairs between Ukraine and non-EU states, non-Canada or non-America?
I would say that in some direction, it's the success of our dialogue with EU. It's dependent on our success with other countries. What do I mean? I mean that today it's not the easy time for our partners. I mean, European Union is quite busy with Brexit issues, with upcoming elections, and many other internal processes. In these regards, our partners, they are looking for new opportunities. As strong we are to offer new opportunities, I mean new projects, new initiatives for cooperation, political or business cooperation, access to the new markets and so on, the more interesting our countries becoming for the EU business or taxpayers and so on, because you know how democracy works. Politicians should explain why they spend money for different projects, and especially when it comes to the election, taxpayers should know why they spend their money, for instance, in Ukraine or in Georgia. So
why do they need to vote for them?
Absolutely.
Yes,
so in this regard, the initiatives we try to do, by the way, together, like the brilliant initiatives about the Viking and Zub transportation projects and so on, which starts in Asian country and brings good from Asian markets to European markets. Such kind of initiatives are very, very interesting. So once again, as many countries are engaged in the development of our countries, as more secure we are. Because the focus of interest of different markets, different economies, different political powers in the world makes our countries more secure.
Great. This is a great recommendation, thank you. I think that we can take it as a recommendation to be also kind of a bridge between Asia and Europe. So just the last question, because we unfortunately ran out of time. How does the world see Ukraine? How does Georgia see Ukraine? What image do other people perceive?
On the people-to-people level, you know that we have quite long routes of cooperation, communication, and friendship, brotherhood, and so on. On the political level, I think that the best was the President Poroshenko when he was in Georgia in 2017. I think when he said that we achieve strategic level of our relationship. This is not the end. We can do more, and I think we both have capability and ambitions and resources to elaborate new initiatives, develop new initiatives, be more successful. So we are strategic partners. We understand each other. This is not about interest. This is about values. We share same values. And this is very, very important.
Well, let's hope that with the same goal, we'll only strengthen our cooperation and finally achieve this main thing, the peace and territorial integrity and the restoration of our sovereignty. Thank you so much for being a guest.
And my last word, let me use this opportunity and congratulate you with this autocephaly. This is great achievement and wish you success and all the best.
Thank you very much. We have been waiting for this for a very long time. Thank you. And thank you again for being a guest today in our studio. It was a pleasure. That was Tengiz Pkhaladze, former advisor to the president of Georgia from 2014 until 2018. Thank you for watching Head to Head. I'm Oles Garjuk. Goodbye.